Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Hi,
I,
everyone.
I always love how you start with hi. And then it's 10
Hi.
minutes and you're like, and then these people. How are you?
I'm good. Yeah, I know there's no in between for me. No, it's black and white. There's no gray. It's sweet and
Is,
bubbly or I'm burning down the house.
is that the Scorpio in you? Is that what it is?
It could be. I mean, we want to get into my
Those are
chart. It's mostly
great.
fire, so
What's up? What's up? What's up?
not much, not much.
You're
I
back.
forgot while we were pre-gaming. Did you want to run through the highs and lows before we get into all the juicy stuff we got lined up for today?
You know what? Um, sure.
It's
I
up to
my
you. We don't
my life is just not adventurous enough. So the high of my week was I got to do a lot of yard work. So
yard work. I was gonna guess. I should have said we should guess each other's high and low of the week.
you would have definitely got it. I definitely took the day off from work to do yard work because I knew it was gonna rain yesterday, so I took Friday off. I was
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, I did about 8 hours."
Yeah. No, you were hustling out there. By the way, everyone, her grass immaculate. Like it's kind of embarrassing to her neighbors because there's no comparison. Sorry guys.
It's
Sorry.
definitely embarrassing to my neighbors, but if you Google image my house, Google Earth my house, I'm the only house in the cul-de-sac with grass. But
Lush.
be
Yeah.
honest about it, I've been here for almost 4 years, and it wasn't always like this. I put some blood, sweat, and tears into that. Talking
Yes,
about,
you
like,
for sure
on
did.
my hands and knees pulling weeds. Shout out Grandpa Weeder. But no, that was my high of the week. I did a lot of yard work. This is the time, springtime, to,
Yes.
clean up the yard and get the whole ambiance ready for the summer. I have no low,
Yeah.
by the way.
That's good. That's
That is
good.
good.
Yeah, my high is very similar to yours. I think it's just being able to see all the flowers starting to bloom, and I guess the low is also in the same category. There, we're all suffering from allergies, but
Oh, shit.
it, it's beautiful. So that's all that matters. Through the tears and the itchy eyes, as long as I can see the flowers, I'm happy.
One thing I will say is that the changes in, seasons in New England,
Whew.
it's like I mean, granted, I never lived anywhere else, but only the Northeast.
Yeah,
This time of year and then the fall transitioning over, it's really nice. It's beautiful.
it is. Ooh, speaking of, I didn't add that to the our list of topics, but we definitely before we end today, we have to touch on this New England serial killer.
Yeah, what's the deal? Yeah, we'll touch it. I haven't done my research, but I've seen a bunch of reels about it. Um,
Yes.
he finna get clapped. He comes to my hood.
My theory is no, it's true though.
Yeah,
My
I
theory, there's a very small theory, and maybe when this is out, maybe later on, you guys can come back to this and be like, ah, this was her theory. I think it's a truck driver. I think it's somebody who has something to do with who's on the road constantly, who knows all the major routes. It's my
but I
theory.
feel like truck drivers are they usually I mean, I can't say that I know for sure, but they travel far. I feel like these deaths or homicides, because I don't even know if they've been called
There are
homicides.
different levels to truck driving. So there's local, there's regional.
Oh, gotcha,
Um,
gotcha.
yeah, there's a lot of different roles that they play. So like local, they're home every day. They 9 to 5. Regional, sometimes they don't see their family for multiple weeks at a time. And then you have the long haul truck drivers that are going all across the country and stuff. So could be a regional truck driver.
'Cause I
Yeah.
do know some people that, are people that date truck drivers, but they do, like, the long, like, going to Atlanta, going to Florida, going
Yeah.
to, all over the place, but South, and then sometimes the Midwest. But
Yeah.
that's a good theory. I mean, so nobody's been well, we should look into that later and get the details because I feel like
Yeah, for
there's
sure.
been bodies turning up all over, like,
In
New
less than 2
England.
months, 11.
Has it is it really 11? Yeah, I didn't know
2
that.
days ago, I woke up in the morning and there were 8. They had 8 bodies, and by the end of the day, there were 11.
"You finna get clapped, you come over here." My gun is purple, but it goes pew pew. I don't know.
I love that.
Legal what is it called? I'm legally able to carry. It's not like I'm breaking any rules, so actually, I have my Florida, I have my Connecticut, I have my Utah. I have several states just because I'm in this area a lot. But, anyways,
Yeah.
shout out to the Kennedy Eagles. I'm representing my high school. I found this at the local grocery store. I'm like, "I gotta get it." I had to cap it. It's cute.
It's
Best
cute.
5
It's
years
very cute. The aesthetic.
the aesthetic, yeah, it was the best 5 years of my life. If you know, you know.
If you know, you know.
It was the best, yeah. My best friend and I at the time, we both had to do 5 years, ironically.
You saying it like it's a jail sentence. We
Well,
both
I
have to do
mean,
5 years.
how wants to stay back a grade. And it's funny because I didn't stay back because of my grades. I stood back because of my absences. So, like, her mom bought her a car, I think we were juniors, and it was pretty messed up what we used to do, but
And it's
fast
so
forward, I go to
funny.
college, I got my undergrad, I have a decent job, I have a great job, I should
Yes.
say. But yeah, no, her mom bought her a car, and the way our school was, we used to have
Oh
these side
boy.
doors where the buses would line up, and
Mhm.
we would sign into homeroom, and, I don't know if it was for you, but homeroom was always by your last name.
Yes.
So
Mhm.
I was in the M's, and, we would both sign into homeroom, and I would get that text message like, "Hey, I'm outside," and every day, as soon as I would sign in to homeroom, leave, the bell rang, I would go through that side door where the buses were lined up, except obviously there was no buses because the school day already started, and there she
Yeah.
was, and we skipped school, I would say probably 3 to 4 times a week,
That
and
is insane.
and didn't think and didn't think that there would be any repercussions.
You know, my senior year, was that your senior year or your junior year?
It was my junior year. It was my junior year,
Oh,
and
okay.
when you become a senior, if you completed all your courses, you were kinda like one of
Yeah.
the cool kids if you got to leave half a day or quarter day because there was
Yeah.
nothing else left for you. You either had to study hard or you just dip. No, I we did this without thinking of any repercussion, and I
Makes
remember
sense.
the day the principal called both of us into his office, and we walked in there like, "What's up, Mr. A?" Like, we everybody loved this principal, he was awesome. And he was like, "Sit down." We were like, "Okay." He's like, "You guys are not passing." And I thought he was joking. I'm not gonna say I thought he was joking. I was like, "Mr. A, you so crazy." He's like, "Either you call your mom right now or I'm gonna call her." I was like, "What?" And he pulled up. I think I had like it was crazy. I think at the time they had started a rule where you can only have like 30 absences or 20. I don't know. I had like double that. And yeah, no. So senior year, I had to do senior year again and I had to make up for it.
Awesome.
And then again, senior year high school, I mean, I'm sorry, homeroom year with the M's. So I actually became friends with a lot of like juniors that were seniors now, and they ended up being lifelong friends, which was funny as hell. But yeah, no, shout
That's
out Kennedy
crazy.
Eagles.
I definitely dodged a major bullet because my senior year, for us, I think it was you can only miss 18 days of school.
Was it 18? I don't remember.
For when I was a senior and well, when I was in school, and my senior year, I missed like 46 days.
Holy smokes.
But I
So
was
you're just like
so
me.
cool. Yeah, I was so cool with the attendance counselor, and I don't know if I should be saying this. I don't want anybody to get in trouble, but I was a part of a youth service, and I was friends with all the truancy officers. So I
Oh,
was just like,
that was it.
yeah, that was
You were
it. They
chilling.
were like,
First of all, I didn't know you missed that much school. I'm a little
senior year, yeah, a
I
lot
feel
of
like I should have
school.
known that.
Oh, my mom knew.
Dang. High school
Yeah,
was just
yeah.
it was life was I
It
always
was
say this.
fun.
I'm 40 years old now, but I swear 17 was the best year of my life. 17 was
Me
just
too. I
great.
mean, besides, all of the freaking working I had to do, but yeah, I had fun. I had fun for sure.
Yeah, it was so wild. We really thought we could just skip school and nothing
And
would
by the way,
happen.
guys, I feel like I need to really emphasize this. It is such and it's so ironic that this person, okay, to my left, okay, had
Oh,
to do 5 years of high school, and out of everyone in our family, I mean everyone, love you all, you know, but she is the youngest and like the most like the high like highly educated. I think that you probably have the highest degree out of everybody in our family, right? Have
yes.
you? Yes, like she is the one that pushed me to go to college. Like it's just such an ironic thing because you're the
It
youngest,
is.
most successful, like, and it's so funny. It's so funny. But everything
It
happens
is
for a
pretty
reason. We met
ironic.
lifelong friends, you
It is
know?
pretty ironic. I was kind of a little badass in high school, and then I think when I got older, when I after senior year and all like my like I've always been a social butterfly, so I've always been friends with like the punk kids. I remember I have actually to this day this friend, she calls me Gangsta Rocka. And it was because I was always like not a gangster, but I was, you know, a little Bronx kid. But I love like my rock music and my you know, I would go to
Yeah.
these shows and do mosh pits and all this. But I was always a social butterfly, so I had friends who were part of, like, all the AP classes, all the honor I was an honor roll student, but I had decent grades to get me through, and,
Mhm.
when I when I graduated, I'm like, I saw all my kids all my friends who were going to college, like, my project friends, the kids that I grew up in the projects, nobody was going to school. But the kids that I
Oh.
befriended in school that I attended these mosh parties with and all these, you know, whatever, they were all going to college, and I'm like, "What the hell am I gonna do with myself?" Like, and I knew that being Latina and being, you know, I just didn't wanna be a statistic. So, I remember
Yeah.
asking my dad, like, "Can you, give me a ride to the community college?" And he's like, "For what?" I said, I'm gonna go sign up." And he was like, "Okay." Like, and I did everything on my own and did the, you know, they do the assessment and you do whatever. Um, funny story. I don't know if you remember this, but for community college, you had to like write like some sort of essay or a paper on somebody you thought was influential. Did I ever tell you who I wrote mine
Mhm.
on?
Who? Oh, no, who?
Miss Hillary Rodham Clinton.
Oh, dear God.
I was
Irony
yeah.
again.
The irony of the world, yeah. I wrote on I think yeah, I wrote on her her whole, like, life and her positions of power, her marriage to the president of the United States. I just thought she was so
Her
influential,
her marriage to Satan.
which, you know right, right,
Yeah.
true. Shout out Monica Lewinsky, she has a new podcast, and as an adult, things seem a little different and make more sense to me now as than when I was a child, and I was like, "Oh, she was a whore, she's a home wrecker." Things are different for me now. But anyway, yeah, full circle, I guess, because I was fully obsessed with, like, women in power and the feminist mentality, and remember, I voted for her in 2016, and it wasn't until I got a little older that I'm like, "I gotta start doing my own research." But, yeah, no, my dad brought me over, I did the assessment, I did my 2 years in community college, then I attended a private, 4-year, got my undergrad, um not that educated, by the way. I did grad school for, I think,
Pretty
2
educated.
semesters 2 semesters, and I was like, "Ain't no way." I'm like, "This shit is too expensive, and it is I don't wanna
Yeah.
do it." So I dropped out of grad school, but for being a 5-year program kid, I don't think I did that bad.
No, you did amazing. I mean, like I said,
And I was so hard on you too, like
oh God, you guys, tough love. That's what we're gonna call it, tough love. But you were the one that like spoke reality into a lot of us, a lot of like my cousins and stuff, like your nieces and nephews. Like when
mhm,
I tell y'all, this woman used to just pull up and be like, "Get in the car, we gotta talk," and I'm like, "Oh, oh
pull
boy."
up.
Yeah, all the time. It's just, nobody was working the way you did. I mean, shout out to everyone in our family that's parents, but I think it's safe to say that we all see you as like the third parent, you know?
I appreciate
So
that.
you
I
have the
feel like
most
my
kids
I feel
out of
like I
anybody
know
that I
well, I
know.
remember being younger. There was a point where I stopped buying gifts for you guys, but there was a time where I would start my shopping for Christmas in, like, September, October, because there was so many of
Yes.
you guys. I think I have, like, 26, 27 nieces and nephews that I would start
Yeah.
in October I'm sorry, September, October, because I needed money and I needed to, like, work overtime. But then there was a point where I was like, "Man, listen, they're old enough to drive or whatever, like, we're good." But I think my to go to, words of encouragement, I guess I would say, was always like, "Nobody's coming to save you." Do you
No,
remember
yeah,
that?
nobody's coming to save you. Oh yeah, all the time. You still say that shit to me.
I do say
It's the truth though. I mean, that kind of, you know, that applies to everything in life.
yeah,
It's
it's
true.
true.
Nobody's coming to save you.
And I think that's kinda why I decided to go to college was because I felt like I was at a pivotal point in life. I'm young, I was 18 years old, and I could go one of 2 ways. And I knew and I learned this actually I as a social worker before I do what I do now, but, um,
Mhm.
I learned that it's okay if you don't know exactly what you want in life, but a good starting point is knowing what you don't want for yourself. So
Period.
knowing what you don't want for yourself, it's a good starting point. You get to work on, okay, if I don't want this, if I like for instance, me, I didn't want to be a statistic. I didn't want to be a pregnant at 16. So guess what I didn't do? I didn't have sex at 16. I didn't want to
Mhm.
be dependent on assistance. I'm like, well, I got to get an education to have a good job. So it's a good starting point to know what you don't want. And
Yeah.
yeah, when I reached that age, I was like, I guess I'm gonna go to college and then do the thing. And it was
Yeah.
rough, none of my friends went to college, and we lived a life. We had a fake ID since the age of, I think, 15 years old. We were going to bars.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
Shout out to, I won't say names, but shout out to a couple student teachers that I used to see at the bar on the weekends and they would look at my friends and I and be like, "Oh my god." Like, it was the poppin' bar in our town. And, they would see us on Monday like, "How was your weekend?" I'm like, "It was great. How was yours?" Uh, eh, Crazy story. But anyway, I just
That's
knew
so
that I
funny.
had to do something. Yeah, I had to do something, and I decided to go the college route and did that, and
Yeah.
here I am, a law-abiding citizen, or at least trying to be a law-abiding
No,
citizen.
that is a really good way to put it. Like, know what you don't want for yourself. And I feel like a lot of the big talks that you and I had, um, that was always kind of like the theme. Like, you were kind of, whenever I would start to like kind of feel bad for myself or bad about my situation or whatever the case may be,
Yeah,
stop the crying. What are we not gonna do? What are we not gonna do? Are you gonna
yep,
keep going down this route? Are you gonna keep doing this? Are you gonna keep fucking yourself over because you got no one else to blame?
yeah,
And that was a big thing. I mean, after that big talk, I mean, that was a very tough time in my life. I want to say like
mhm,
2021-ish, 2020.
yeah,
And after that, I mean, I never would have expected the trajectory that my life is in now. I mean,
right.
I have,
I'm
beautiful
so proud of
baby,
you.
beautiful home. I'm about 3 classes shy of being done with school,
I'm so proud of you. Yes.
Thank you. Like I said, well, for most of the cousins, you're the third parent. For me, you're kind of the parent, but you
No,
know,
I get it. I mean, I was at a point where I had to understand and accept that nobody was coming to save me either. I come from a
yeah,
very, very big family. You know that we come from a very big family, and nobody was coming to save me. And there were things that I had to do for myself in life that if I didn't, I don't know where I mean, I had a couple people that I feel like, helped me. I've always made friends with older people for some reason.
yeah,
I was always curious about, or with rather, I was always curious with people who have experienced life before I have, because
yeah.
I'm the type of person that I like to learn by other people's mistakes. I wasn't always like that. I would
I
walk
agree.
through the same glass door over and over and over and over. The door breaks and it's like, why did it break? It's because of the glass door you've been walking through. But I
Yeah.
have friends and I've had a couple teachers that would talk to me and give me that I don't even know, that encouragement of like, you don't have to be like this. You don't have to settle. And then as I got older, I'm like, oh my God, I don't wanna not be anything in life, if that makes sense.
No,
But,
it does. It sure does. Having the influence of someone who's lived so much more life than you know, kind of telling you how it is. It is one of the biggest gifts that you can have. If you could sit down and just listen and not talk and just absorb that, that's a big gift you can give to yourself for sure.
oh,
I
100%. And it was always like the main goal, not one of the goals, but the main goal to be there for my nieces and nephews in a way where I feel like they feel supported and heard, and letting them know like there's going to come a day in life that you're going to have to face yourself in that mirror, and you're going to have to determine if you're happy with who you are and what you've become. And
Yeah.
it's okay if you're not. The ultimate question is, what are you going to do about it? You know?
Yes. Yeah.
Shout
It's
out to
so
all my
true.
nieces and nephews. I love you all. I won't name you guys because there's too many to take the whole fucking
There's
spot.
too
But
many.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. Okay. Thank you for that. Um,
Yes.
Also very, very, very proud. I'll say it again. I'll say it a million times. I'm so proud of you. Um,
Thank you.
I love when you, it makes me feel good when you, because we've had these conversations multiple times, you and I. And when
Yeah.
you say things like, the advice that you've given me, or remember that time we talked about, like, you never know when you speak to somebody if your words resonate.
Resonate. Yeah.
Did I say that word right? Or like make
Yeah.
an impact. And when you tell me that, it definitely makes me feel good. It makes me feel proud because I feel like, number one, I didn't waste my time, but number two, you were actually listening, you know?
No, you always the thing is, you've always answered the phone for me. Your door's always open for me. Like it was never like you're probably, and no offense to everybody else, this is my own traumas, okay, from what I've lived through. But you have never made me feel like I was a burden or that I was, so for me, the time that you do give me or like the advice that you do give me, I take because growing up in the household that I grew up in, you were never really heard.
Mm,
So when
same.
I speak to you and I'm getting like actual authentic pieces of advice or words of encouragement, it means so much more to me because I just didn't have that. So your words, they're here. They're here. And because they're here. Like they helped me grow into what I am now. So thank you.
I love you.
Love you too.
So we got a couple interesting things to talk about today. And little Fetty
Yes.
Wap over here, my 6 pound Pomeranian poodle, is doing the fake
Oh, he
sneeze because he wants to
sneezed.
come off the. He's doing the fake.
Oh
Can
my
you
god.
hear him?
Yeah, is that you?
He was doing the fake. He does. I can't look. I can't make any eye contact with him because then he's gonna know. But
Yeah.
he does the fake sneeze. Well, that's his little cough that he has. But he does a fake sneeze so I can get him off the bed. So I have to pretend that I'm not watching or hearing him. But
Doesn't he have
anyway,
like a little ramp too? Is it still
he
there?
he only does it to impress other people, aka my dad. He won't do it for me. He impressed my dad last week over and over, going running up and down the steps, running up and down.
Oh.
And for me, he would just no, remember me. So I'm actually gonna I'm gonna turn my camera off and I'm gonna have you do talk about what we're gonna be talking about soon. And I'm gonna mute it too just because I don't know if he's gonna bark.
Sure. Yeah. So we've got a couple of topics that we have written down here. Some of the things I'm actually going in blind. Um, things that I'm gonna be introduced to today, like Matt Walsh, what the fuck's going on with you? I don't know much about this specific topic, but I think that's where we're starting off today, right? Is that where you
Oh,
want to
sorry.
start? That's okay.
I walked away with my headphones, so I don't know what you were talking about. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. No, did you want to start off with the Matt Walsh thing? Because I wrote down a
Yeah.
couple of things. Yeah.
Man. Oh, all right. I'll do the intro since it was a story that I brought forward to the
Yeah.
forefront, I guess. Is that what you say?
Mm-hmm.
All right, Matt Walsh. Matt Walsh is we can call him a journalist, right? We can call him
A
a
commentator. Yeah.
commentator.
Yeah.
He works directly, I believe, still currently with the Daily Wire, which I unsubscribed to uh, about a year ago after they fired my girl Candace Owens because I feel like
Yep.
their rhetoric is very one-sided, and that could be a whole nother rabbit hole we should probably look into with the whole
Yes.
conversation of the anti S word because I think it's more prevalent than ever before. But anyways, Matt Walsh is a commentator. He was recently on Tucker Carlson's show, which is called the Tucker Carlson Show, which I love.
Mm-hmm.
He used to work for Fox News. He got fired from Fox
Mm-hmm.
News, then did his own thing on YouTube and has his own network now and platform. But Matt Walsh says some things that kind of threw me off, and I feel like we gotta call people out, whatever party they're
Yes.
in. If it's
I
the left, if
agree.
it's the right, what did I say last week? Center, up, sideways. I don't care what party, what affiliation.
Yes.
And people need to be held accountable for the shit that they say. It should be noted, Matt Walsh is a very avid believer in, like, he's anti same sex marriage. Shout out to Jillian Michaels, who had him on her podcast, and he basically just told her to her face, like, I don't believe in same sex marriage. It's against God's word, the word of God. And
Right.
Jillian respectfully was like, I just hope that you can still see me as a person, even though you don't agree with my lifestyle and my marriage, whatever.
Right.
But he went down also he did the What is a Woman movie documentary.
Yes. Which I liked. I liked because for anybody obviously that knows me, I'm raising a little boy in this world, and I think it's extremely important to at least know what a woman is and what a man is. What's the line? Not to be funny, but what's the line by Tupac? Everybody came from a woman. What's there's a song.
Oh yeah, I
Everybody
think
was sent
wait.
to a woman. Everybody came from a woman. Something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. It's is
And
it
it's
from the Dear
like
Mama song? I don't remember.
I
We
think
got our name
so.
from a woman,
Yeah,
simple
yeah.
like that.
So I think it's important. It's even, by the way, just a teeny tiny little funny little side quest here. Um, because my mother-in-law has been around since the minute my child was born. I mean, almost every single day. He got into the habit of calling her mom as well, mama. And I know a lot of people that would bother, but for me, I'm just like, "Oh, he knows what a woman is." That's just all that matters to me. That makes me happy. He knows that this is a woman. She's a nurturing spirit. She's second to mom. Like, she's just like me. Like, this is a woman. And he knows, like, when we're reading a book, he'll go, "Boy, girl, I'm a boy, daddy's a boy, mommy's a girl." So he
But it's
knows. I
it's
think it's
just
important.
crazy that it's yeah, it's important to know. Especially with kids. I think when you're an adult, man, like, we all know people who are uh part of the community or part of the trans community, and we love people in the trans
Yes,
community. I think that when it comes to the kids, the children is huge. But
right.
what Matt Walsh was doing with that documentary was, it was almost like, it was, for me, I liked it and I enjoyed it because it honed in on, like, this narrative of, like, you can be what you want to be and people have to respect you for because of what you want to be. Now, I do
Yeah.
respect people who went through the transition, and I respect people from
Yes,
all facets of life, all
100%.
walks of life. um there's just certain areas that I kind of struggle with the whole boys and girls sports. I think it's unfair. I think I used to play sports when I was younger. Back when I got to high school, I thought I was too cool to play sports, so I didn't do it, which I should have
Yeah,
done it in hindsight. But
yeah.
um there's certain things that, I just kind of feel like, I don't know, like,
I mean,
women
I
are
feel like I
losing their
could
rights.
yeah, I feel like I could sum it up in a way that explains how I feel
Also
with
not
what it
offensive because we
came
don't
off
want to
as
offend
critical.
anybody, you know?
Right. When it comes because for me, I think that it's very clear what the biggest caveat is with everything that's going on in the world is leave the fucking kids alone. And
I think we can
with
both agree on that,
kids,
yeah.
yeah, I think that people don't understand that if my kid's walking around on all fours today saying he's a cat, and then tomorrow he's flapping his wings saying that he's a bird, you got to remember the mind here. This mind is absorbing and collecting so much information, and I think it's only fair to give them a chance at having very like the baseline information that they're growing up with, like the foundational information, is not anything that's
Yeah.
going to fucking confuse them for the rest of their life. Now, when you get older and you're like, I just always felt that this is who I was. I was not, meant to look like a man or look like a woman. When you're older, that is super cool.
Right.
That's totally fine. But when you don't nip that in the bud on what children are being exposed to, because remember, what are we doing on a daily basis as adults in this world? We're trying to censor as much as possible from the little kids because they're just absorbing so much information. um I don't think it's fair to put that on them and to give them such heavy confusing information at a young age. They're going to grow up, they're going to see the world, they're going to see trans people, they're going to see people of different races, of different religions. They have so much time They don't need to be going through that shit right now. And that goes into the sports as well. Like it just let the kids be kids, and then when they're adults, if they want to choose to, pursue any path or avenue that they want to, we fully support. But first and foremost, just leave the kids alone. They don't need to know what you're
Agreed.
passionate and what you're not.
Agreed. And we kind of went a little bit left with this, or I don't even know if left is a word, but to go
Left
back
or
to
right.
Matt Walsh. Yeah, to go back to Matt Walsh, he's essentially talking about the right to parenthood and the right to be a parent and adopt kids and use surrogacy, whatever. But his stance on two gay men, let's just hear it because I want to get your honest like reaction to it
Yeah,
because
I haven't seen any of this, guys. So this is, like I said, this is brand new for me. So I'm excited.
yeah, she hasn't seen it and she knows I was frustrated when I saw it because like I said, I'm a Tucker Carlson fan and
Yeah,
I I do like Matt Walsh, but he's losing me very easily these days. He's just like,
yeah,
anyways, I'm gonna play it and I'm gonna make sure that I have the audio because he gives zero Fs, and I think that I understand why he not even why. I guess I understand his right to his opinion, but I don't
yeah,
understand is his right to offend others and think that that's okay. Like he's better than
yeah.
everybody. But I'm gonna share the screen. Hopefully there's not an ad. And if there's an ad, I apologize, but we'll play it now.
No, you
No
don't have a
worries.
right to. What does that mean? No one has a right to be a parent. Uh,
You could hear it?
it's great to be a parent if you can, but you're not born with this like entitlement. You're entitled to a child. What the hell does that mean? Rather than talking about the right of the parent, let's talk about the right of the child. And this applies to so many other. This applies to abortions.
Watch what
Oh,
nuts do to our
I knew
body.
that was
Uh,
here we go.
Applies to a lot of topics. Um, what does the child have a right to? And I would say a child has a right to a mother and a father. A child has a right to the basic fundamental setup that billions of kids throughout history have had, which is a mother and a father. Now, if through the course of events, through no one's fault, that is taken away from a child. I mean, you can have a parent that dies, you end up with a single parent. You can have a divorce, which I think is terrible.
Tucker's like, where's he going with this?
But it's not supposed to work that way. So if you have a child in foster care, you're looking for a mother and a father. And to just say, okay, well, we'll give this child to two dads, you're basically giving up on that child. You're saying, well, yeah, we couldn't find the right setup for you, so instead you're getting this. And I just reject that. I reject that totally. And I also think, frankly, that you know, a lot of people won't like this, but
I think we've passed the point where
yeah, right. No one likes anything that we're saying. A
His
child
laugh.
being in foster care is far from an ideal scenario. It's very, very sad. A child going to two gay parents, I think is worse. I think it's easily worse, actually.
Why?
oh, okay. Can we pause it? Can we pause it? I have comments. And you understand because you like you said in your past work history, you worked in the social work field. One of my first jobs was with the youth service. I've stayed with the youth service until like my first year of college, or when I first started
Mhm.
college, so for a very long time. And this is infuriating because first of fucking all, okay,
Ooh, we got
there
her
is
fired up.
no there is no guarantee that a kid is going to a foster home that has two parents. It very easily could be just an Aunt Marge, okay? Just a one woman in the house with 50 other kids and is not paying attention to the kid. Actually, I think most foster homes that I've ever seen, it's just a woman who's divorced by herself who wants more kids in the house. I've seen it multiple times. I've never seen a like that. I'm sorry. This was the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. And to in defense of these hypothetical two gay men who want to become parents who want to take care of a child, let me tell you something. It takes a village to raise a child. Like I just said, my mother-in-law is also mama, okay? So I feel like if there's that influence of, because if he's trying to talk about foundational baseline, whatever, if you have feminine and masculine men and women helping in raising this child, it's not like this is the new world. It is not the most ideal just to have a mom and a dad. Like it's like I don't agree with this. I
So
just don't
you
agree with
reject
this at
his
all.
notion. Like he said, I
A
reject.
100%. I mean, and he's absolutely like, I mean, who the fuck is he? He can have his opinion. That's totally fine. But to detest two again, these hypothetical two gay men who want to become parents, who, let's say, have the, because we're talking more adoption at this point, because foster care, they're just getting placed wherever, right?
He gets into surrogacy as well, and what he's saying is crazy. It gets like
It is.
worse.
It is. I don't now. See, then I have another point of view when it comes to the surrogacy thing, because I feel like, at least in the very beginning of the child's life, they're like, they do need the person that birthed them, the mother, at least
Mhm.
for life purposes, for growing purposes. But if we're talking about the adoption agency, like, where, like, this mother just knows she doesn't want the kid, she's giving it up for adoption because she can't afford it, it's not going to go to a good home. This is such a different ball game than surrogacy, because that child is being born specifically to be given to somebody else. I think that's a very different topic. But if you're going to compare putting a child in foster care as opposed to them being adopted, which both things are completely like night and day for kids. You know how many fucking kids in foster care pray and dream about being adopted?
Mhm.
Are you fucking kidding me? Like, I
And
just,
his stance is that you're doing a disservice because what is right is a mom and a dad, not a mom and a mom and a dad and a dad. And
do
my
you know
question
how
for him,
hard it is to become an adoptive parent? Do you know the hoops they have to jump through? How Go ahead. I'm sorry.
well, my question for Matt is who,
Ugh.
and I know it's probably his religious views, which
Yes.
everybody knows that I love God, I love Jesus, and I'm a believer and I have faith. Um,
Absolutely.
who gave you the authority to say one thing is worse than the other?
Yeah.
Who gave you the authority to, I mean, granted, there have been cases, we can't negate the fact, but there have been cases where same-sex parents have abused their children. But guess what?
Absolutely.
There are cases where heterosexual parents and mom and dad both equally abuse their kids. I just think it was an
Mhm.
unfair statement. It was distasteful, and I think that that's
I
very
agree.
ugly to say. And if his heart really feels like that, it's like, but they do get into the religious part about why churches don't talk more against that, and he gets into detail about maybe fear or cowardness and blah blah blah. But he does say something else. I think it's right here. I'm gonna press play if you're okay with that.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
because I'll go off again.
let me see if it's here.
Disordered, it's more confusing for the child.
Yeah, that's
Again, neither. I think it's easily worse, actually.
Why?
Um, it's just more disordered. It's more confusing for the child. Um, Again, neither scenario is good. We don't like either thing, but um, I don't see going to gay parents as an improvement over the what they had before. So
Do we know that it
Profit
screws
share.
kids up, or we just sort
can
of
you believe
intuitively
that?
know it?
I think we
Into
intuitively know, but also there's been plenty of studies done about um, the mental health effects of kids that grow up in these, single sex, same sex parent homes. There's been a lot of studies done about it, but honestly, I don't. You can look at the studies, people will fact check, and they're there. I don't need studies for this. It's the same thing with the
the
trans
arrogance.
topic. From the very beginning when we started talking about that, you had all these people saying, "Well, where are the studies? Where are the studies showing that we shouldn't chemically castrate a 5-year-old or a 12-year-old?" Well, there are studies now that will bear that out.
And I reject that because his point here, and I probably should have let it play. I just didn't want to have too much airtime on a damn video of Matt Walsh.
Yeah.
What he's trying to say here is that One of my biggest gripes also with the right or the conservative side is that they want to compare a lot of things to things that are uncomparable, like the trans gender affirming care for children. So basically, what
Mhm.
he's saying is it's the same thing with transing kids, where people want studies. There's studies that show that if you don't trans your kid, he's going to become suicidal. He's going to become mentally, unstable.
Mhm.
And he's basically saying that it doesn't matter what the studies say, it's wrong in itself. In itself, it's wrong cutting off genitalia and providing hormone blockers and puberty blockers for children. Saying that is the same thing or equates to two gay men adopting a child. I don't see the
There's no
correlation.
correlation there. I
Yeah,
agree. I mean, where I live, um, where there's a little library here that we take, my son to
little
for
man.
like story time stuff. Yeah, and we actually got to meet um these two men that had a little baby. They're married. They just adopted this little guy. His name was Max. He was so cute. Um, and these two men, I forget their names. I wouldn't even say it if I remembered, but they were so nice. I mean, it was just like I don't think I think people forget that we are, you know, things evolved, things change, and we're in a time where I don't think it would be so hard for a kid in the world to have two same-sex parents. Even if, again, he is totally has every right to his religious views, how you want to run your household, how you want to raise and train your kids, fine. But you cannot speak for every single situation, because the same way that you could say that there were those that, and I think of that one case of the two gay parents that turned out to be pedophiles that adopted the kids that were
That
abusing them.
was horrible.
What about it? We can turn around and flip it and talk about your denomination that you believe in. Imagine how many people in his religion, many people. I think that the thing is pedophiles and like bad people and people who want to harm children or people that are just not good for children, they have no they're everywhere. They look like
Mhm.
everybody. There's no, you know what I mean? I don't agree with
I
anything
agree.
he's saying.
When you talk about the church aspect, I didn't personally experience it, but I experienced it in my church where we found out that a youth pastor was abusing a bunch of little girls. So it
Yeah.
happens. It happens. That was very traumatic. It was traumatic because we were told by this youth pastor that we had to get up to go to pray to go to church rather to pray at 5 in the morning on Saturdays. Being a young kid, like all this happening while nobody knew the shit that he was doing, and there was a lot of
Jesus.
trauma that was created with that because of the abuse that he put on these kids. And I just think it's not fair to generalize and say that, like, his statement was bold and it was ballsy.
Very bold.
And he
Yeah.
basically said in some cases, he said, I don't even know if he said in some cases, he said it's probably worse to be adopted by a same-sex couple than staying in foster care. Like, what planet does he fucking live on? Excuse my language,
And
but
if you wanna talk about
really,
statistics and you wanna talk about numbers, we could
let's
talk
talk
about
about
the
how many
numbers
kids
of
are on the system.
who are in the system who cannot be found, who have been abused, who become pregnant by their caregivers, who get pimped out by their caregivers, who get kicked out of the house, but they're still collecting money by their caregivers. I guarantee you, and I can almost promise you, intuitively, okay, that the numbers in foster care and the abuse and the trauma that children are going through is far more worse in the foster care system. It's
Yeah,
just, I'm sorry, it is what it is. Like I don't like Matt, yeah, you lost me. You definitely, I mean, you never had me in the first place, but you
I was
definitely
listening
lost
to
me.
I like to listen to podcasts when I'm driving or in the shower or doing yard work. That's all I consume. I don't even consume, music like that. But, I uh, I was like, "What the heck did he just say?" I literally had to
Yeah,
I'm like, Is this for real?" And I don't know if he's doing it to be like that, to have that shock factor. I mean, we're talking
yeah,
about it, granted, we only have, like, 11 subscribers at the time of this recording. Hopefully, we
yeah.
see that in the future,
We
but
will, we will.
I'm like, maybe it's the shock factor that he's looking for, I thought it was disgusting, honestly, and it gets worse. I won't play anymore, but yeah, I want
The
to.
Tucker's face the whole time, like his brows were furrowed so hard. He's like,
I feel like
"What?"
Tucker didn't
Like,
know where he was going with this. Tucker was just
yeah,
kind of like, he goes further in depth to talk about it was a slight comparison to, and I don't want to misrepresent what he's saying, but my interpretation of it, and I will go back and watch it. He was comparing like everything that's going on with the LGBTQ community, like a cancer, like a, because at one point it might be coming up next, but Tucker Carlson was talking about how it's like, actually, I should play it and see. He basically was saying that, um, I'm gonna put the captions on just so I can read it and not play it out loud.
yeah.
Um, basically saying like, well, that's progression and we're being progressive. So things are a little different now. So people, now there's same sex marriage when you legally get married, you can legally adopt kids. And Matt Walsh literally compared it to progression like a stage 4 cancer. And I was
That
just
is
like,
so disturbing.
I was a little taken back, I guess,
Yeah,
with Tucker's reaction, because I just think Tucker's like a goofball. I don't think he
he's
has
funny.
malice like Jillian Michaels
Yeah,
loves him. He loves Jillian Michaels, who's a gay woman with kids, married to a woman. But he like giggled like a schoolgirl when he was
because he
saying this.
probably
Like,
couldn't believe what he was hearing.
that's what I thought. That's what I thought. I was just like,
Yeah,
what the hell is this conversation? And I could imagine
yeah,
that Tucker's like literally the whole conversation did not know where the hell he was going with it. Even though
yeah.
initially the part of the video in the beginning that I didn't show was him saying, him reading a tweet from Matt Walsh and basically going into the topic, and Matt Walsh was like, "Oh shit!" So like we're going in, but I don't
We're
think
going
that
in.
Tucker was
Yeah,
genuinely prepared for the things that he was gonna say. He called it. He
Mhm.
called it. What was the word I told you? An
Um,
abomination. He called it an abomination as
yeah.
well. But I'm trying to find, just by reading the caption where he talks about how it's progressive and being able to do this now. Um,
My
and
partner,
Matt,
he kind of, when you said the cancer thing, this kind of made me think of this. And sorry to cut you off, but
no, you're good. I'm looking for it.
the it's funny because I guess if you go far on any side or into any, ideology,
Mhm.
it can be very detrimental to society, to the point where, like, I from my experience, and I can be completely wrong, but a lot of people who are, LGBTQIA plus, they are not like, they're the people who, that is their identity, that is their religion, that is their ideology. Where basically, this is it.
Like
And then there are other
radicalized, like,
people. It's radicalized, right? And I choose to believe that that is not a majority of the community. I choose to believe that. I feel
I
like there's a lot of, yeah, like I feel like the same thing with people who may have the same sentiment as Matt Walsh. They probably feel that way about their themselves. Like, I would never, this is not something that I would do, but love is love. People love who they love, who are adults, obviously. We're talking about in this kind
mhm,
of aspect. But I feel like he's just another polarizing figure, and he's just, he's the loudmouth. He doesn't speak for the majority. And I
mm,
feel like it's the same for the people that maybe he's talking about, the people who are just so, like the rainbows everywhere, and they, things like that. I feel like both sides are completely like, the sides that are talking about
polar
each
opposite.
other are completely on the opposite side. And all of us in the middle are just chilling, like we're just regular people paying taxes. Like, you know
Regular
what I mean?
schmegular,
Yeah,
tax-paying citizens, that's all.
that's
It's
all.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't it was a very weird, bit that he was throwing out there. And,
Yeah.
and even Jillian Michaels, when she talks about him, she really does have grace with him, like, I respect your religion and your belief system, and she genuinely, like, as a person, respects his opinion while he's telling her to her face, "I don't believe your marriage is a real marriage." essentially,
Yeah.
because you married a
Yeah.
woman. And I don't know, it kind of struck me. And then he went a little further to talk about how I understand the stance that he's coming from, because I think at some point um people have felt this way. He was
Mhm.
talking about how with the movement, with the LGBT movement, it first started as like more like he the way he broke it down was actually interesting. It was like first it's like letting people know about the LGBTQ. Then it was like a side of making people like people just tolerated it. Like, oh, whatever, you want to love who you love, whatever. It is what it is. You're gay, you're lesbian, you're that, whatever. And then it became a thing that it's like, now you have to accept it. And it's like, well, I can tolerate it, but I don't have to accept it. And then, no, you do have to accept it. And when you accept it, you're kind of like, at that point, you're accepting people for who they are, but you don't really know what's going on in their bedroom. It's none of your business. You don't
Right.
care. It's just like, all right, I accept your lifestyle. But
Mhm.
then he went a little deeper and talked about now it's affecting me because now we have pride parades where it's not just a regular parade. You've got people in bondage gear. Tucker Carlson even snuck in there and said, "Yeah, you have people having sex outside. Like it's happening in these parades."
Yeah.
And I think that that representation is inaccurate in some situations, but it doesn't represent the vast majority.
Yeah.
And that also, like, pride parades for me, I feel like they used to be just fun and everybody's wearing
They have
pink
evolved. Yeah.
and
Yeah,
so
for
so
sure.
I kind of I don't want to say I agree with him, but in a sense I understand where he's coming from, because some of the highlights that I've seen in some of the pride parades in California and New York, the bondage, the actual literal balls on a man hanging, not
Ugh.
hanging, but displayed while there's
Yeah.
kids, the sexualization, like it's just completely
Yeah.
like this is not what Pride Month is about.
So it's
Um,
funny, I used to always say back, when I was a little bit younger, I used to always say the only people, and actually Jeffree Star said this. Shout out to Jeffree Star. Um, the only people that can fix kind of, also kind of like in the Black community, what Candace Owens is doing, the only people that can fix the community are people who are a part of the community. So it's
mm,
like somebody who isn't a part of the community, we can have so many opinions and ideas and all of these things. We genuinely cannot do shit about it. And it's funny because I feel like you have to remember, and this also goes into shout out to Candace Owens, that little doc that she put, the doc video, whatever, that she put together talking about people infiltrating certain religions to kind of
yes,
integrate their ideologies into that religion and change it over time. I feel like it's the same thing that's going on with the community, the LGBTQ community. You have a lot of
yeah,
people that are
I
like,
actually,
just
yeah,
because just because, I have a lot of kinks and I'm a freak and I'll do it with men, women, doesn't matter. I'm going to put myself in this community now. Or like these people who, for example, people who are pedophiles, maps, these people, because
the minor
they don't
attracted
have a
persons,
preference.
yeah,
Yeah, they don't have a preference between boys or girls. Well, now I can join the community because I like the same sex. I like boys. So I can be a part of the community. So you have to remember that there are people with nefarious, ideologies and very disgusting kinks and whatever, especially when we're talking about a community that's solely based off of sexual preference. You have
mm,
to remember it is such a wide scale. There's so many different types of people that are just like, well, even though I'm into bestiality, I also don't
gross.
have a problem sleeping with guys. So I can be a part of the community as well. So now they're introducing their
That
outside
acceptance, yeah.
ideologies. Yeah, they're pushing their themselves into the group. So what do? We need to have people within the group, the regular, degular, schmegular, tax-paying citizens that are in the group. They're the only people that can call this out. They're the only people that can stop it.
And I think that's a great point that you make because I'm gonna give them a shout out because I follow them. But there's a page called Gays Against Groomers,
I
and
love
this page,
them.
yeah, it's two women, I believe. They're Latina actually, I think. Um, they're a married couple, and they created this organization called Gays Against Groomers, where they're like, hey. they're not allowing that community, that the community, to be hijacked by pedophiles and people who are grooming these kids. So
Yeah.
kind of like I
Mhm.
like to call out the left and I like to call out the right and I like to call out any mother that tries to,
Yeah.
that's easily call outable. You know what I mean? Like that you can
Yeah.
call out.
Yeah.
Oh, I totally made that up. They do that, and they're a gay couple married, and they're against the grooming
Mhm.
of children. And I totally agree that being a part of the community, you have the voice, or you should have the voice because you're part of it.
Your
Does that make
community.
sense?
Yeah.
So these women,
Absolutely.
they will call out the bullshit at these pride parades. They will call out the BS in the school system and the books that they're providing, teaching kids how to have, you know, sexual relations at a young age, at the age of like, I
Yes.
think one of the books was like really young, like I think fifth graders talking about like boy and boy sex. And
Yeah.
these these people play a pivotal role in educating everybody on the
Yeah.
difference between being a part of the community and being people who are infiltrating the community, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
It's an awesome page.
100%.
It's an
Yeah.
awesome
I
page. So
I
shout out
like
to Gay
them.
Groomers. Um, I'm gonna tag them when I do a reel with this video.
Yes.
But I think
They
this is a
that
good segue. I
like
wanted to
they're
show
a
you a
big
video.
voice.
Say that
Big
again?
voice in the community. They're a big voice in the community
Yeah,
for
yeah,
sure.
yep, yep. And they have like different chapters and locations all over the nation, which I think is important. But I think this is a great segue. Somehow we always end up talking about the kids because I think it's important to the both of us,
Biggest
you
mission.
as a
Yeah.
parent, me as an aunt, of
Mhm.
many, many nieces and nephews, and now many, many, not many, many, but a few great nieces and nephews. Also a video that I didn't show you prior to the pod, so I'm intrigued. It is in Spanish. Are you okay with me showing it?
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, speaking of your nieces, one of my siblings, I don't know if she's ever called you this to your face, but she calls you the Bay. Have you ever heard her call you that?
I have a mug in my room that says "Bay, best aunt ever."
Yeah,
I got it.
we were just talking about. She was like, yeah, Titi's the Bay. I'm like, excuse me, like,
I got a mug for Christmas and it's pink. It's so cute.
yeah. And I thought that
Shout
was
out.
funny, but please continue.
I try to be the best aunt. I swear, I really do. Um, so it's in Spanish. It's a short reel. I saw it this
Mhm.
morning. I guess not. I guess, but I seen that it went viral because it's got over 1 million views. Um, but they do have like the subtitles in English.
Okay.
So I wanted to share this because this is pretty much what we talk about, but this is coming from like, I guess the what do they call it? The horse's mouth.
Mhm. Mhm.
All right, so I'm gonna show it. Hopefully, we have no issues with the audio, and then you let me know. Just a quick thumbs up if you can hear it. But it's from the page Raw Cuba, and it's about just a lot of things that go on in Cuba. But I wanted you to check this out.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, I don't know where the volume button is on this.
Oh, the
Ooh,
audio. Did you share the audio?
I did share the audio, but because it's Instagram, there's usually
A little button on the bottom.
a
Yeah.
little button that I cannot find. Or did I mute it? I cannot find it. That's unfortunate because I wanted to show you that. I don't know why it's not showing it. Mm, that sucks. I don't know if you want to try on
Bottom
your end.
corner.
Remember my mouse that I have to change. Oh, I found it. Okay, here it is. Sorry. Let's see
Yeah.
if I can do it now. Just read the first sentence that you see right here. Well, actually, the audio wouldn't have mattered anyways
Engage in
because it's in
prostitution.
Spanish.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't have mattered, but you read this, right?
Yes.
We engage in prostitution. Okay, here we go.
Mhm.
Hay
You
hasta
can
de
hear it?
12, 13 años. Y hay turistas
Como
que
cada mes
piden
que piden
menores de
menores
edad.
de edad.
Uno me dijo a mí que me daba 10 fulas por cada menor de edad que lo buscara. De menos de 15
Y
años.
Orilei le dijo que no.
Que no.
¿Por qué lo hacen? Gracias a la necesidad. Porque si sus padres no lo pueden comprar, gracias a la necesidad
Un par
que
de
hay.
zapatos que vale 25,000 pesos. Y ellos quieren estar en la farándula, quieren verse bonita.
Ya todo tú lo sabes. Aquí no hay nada oculto.
Aquí no hay nada justo.
Que si es duro, durísimo.
Practicamos el servicio de la prostitución. Hay hasta de 12, 13 años. Y hay
Yeah, that's Oh my gosh, we can get into this. There's sex tourism is a big thing, and a majority of the people that are going to the brothels are, having sex
Worse.
overseas. They're children. It's with children. People, because you got to remember why these people. It's called sex tourism, by the way. That's a real thing.
Oh
Um,
no shit.
these yeah, these people, which not to be rude, a lot of times they are middle aged to older white men. They're
S-
going.
Pause. All the comments said that, and I wanted to be like these. You're giving me insight, and I'm sorry that I interrupted you, but you're giving me insight because
No,
when actually I'll show you the comments, and then I'll ask you to elaborate because
sure.
when I saw that, I felt like, wow, that's bullshit. They're making it a race thing. But
No, it's true. It is
check this out.
unfortunately
Hold on,
very true.
I'm gonna pause it. And all right, white men always coming to the third world countries doing things that are not even legal in their
That's what I was just
countries.
about to say. I was just about to say that. Yeah, that's exactly what's going on. And again, you got to remember the name of the game here. It's money. I mean, not a
Look at
lot of.
another one. Yeah,
Yeah.
U.S. tourists, and it's mostly white men.
Yep.
Let me see. This is so sad to hear. They're talking about tourists. They're talking about are white Americans. Everyone knows that. Okay, so you knew
Not just
that. I didn't know
Americans,
that.
not just Americans, it's also white men from the UK. Or over there they have a huge pedophile problem. It's a very big thing. Yeah,
So
if
you
you
knew that
look.
before I even.
Yeah, if you look up, the first time I never noticed this was I was watching a documentary back in like 2019 about the Gambia, and um n- no, not 2019, it was 2020. They were saying that they were struggling because the Gambia, the a majority of the money that the island gets is from people coming, flying in, staying at hotels, using the resorts, all of these things. And then in 2020, when all the airlines were being shut down, guess who was still coming and flying in private? People with money, older white men.
Oh,
They were coming and flying private, and there were people taking pictures of little. It makes my stomach hurt. Big, fat, old, bald white men walking on the beach holding little black girls
I
like
feel
in their
like I
arms.
saw that.
Yeah, it is. It makes me absolutely sick. I want to find that documentary. I'll send it to you. They actually, this YouTuber, shout out Surviving Life. I don't care what anybody says about you. I used to watch him all the
What do they say
time.
about it?
Well, they say so he went into a lot of things in regards to like the kink community because he was trying to like
Kink?
kinks. Yeah, because
Oh,
he
kinks.
not
Okay,
only
okay.
talks about like the weird sick stuff that goes on the internet, which he obviously does not approve of. He's actually one of the only people I've ever seen that actually has infiltrated a lot of deep websites that were curated for like people like eHarmony for pedophiles, like stuff like that. He infiltrated these websites and exposed them. Um and once he started like doing a second channel, trying to kind of destigmatize adults who had kinks with other adults. Like, he'd bring people on who would talk about their kinks, to kind of, what's the word? Have people not look at them so weird because they're two consenting adults and they're like, hey, this is something that we're into, like this type of role
And
play or
then when you're
whatever.
around other people that like the same thing, it's normalizing the behavior. So it's like everybody's accepted. So
Exactly.
you're in a community of your own.
Yeah. And they're saying, so the reason he got canceled, where they were saying that he was pushed like a kink pusher, I guess, or whatever. But I personally think that they took him down because he was exposing a lot of pedophilia. Like back when Q first came on the scene, he was posting a lot of stuff explaining, what QAnon was talking about and a lot of the stuff going on in like the Gambia. He exposed a lot of weird pedophile shit going on online, and then they canceled him. And I think that they took him down for that purpose. But he has another channel. I'm gonna see if he posted that back up because they deleted everything.
Is he on Instagram or just YouTube?
He's on YouTube. Shoot, what is his new channel called? It's like Project RO. What is it? I'll have to find it at a later time and send it to you. But he exposed the Gambia, and It was probably one of his best documentaries. One of his best documentaries. Like there were literal, and again, this is during the time of COVID where people were not traveling out there and seeing it for themselves. So these older white men from America and from the UK that had all this money that are going out there and doing it, I feel like they had a lot more privacy in their mind because people weren't traveling unless you had a whole bunch of money to fly private. You know,
It
it's crazy.
blows my mind that it's just like this thing that just happens and everybody knows it happens and it's not like, I don't know.
And a lot of the people, not to just only shame these men who are paying for it, the people that are pimping these kids out are their own parents because like that girl said, they don't have money, they don't have like, they're like, what, this white man with a lot of money is coming to our island and he wants to have sex with my 5-year-old and is going to give me x amount of US dollars, then let's do it. Like that's what's going on. That's sex tourism. It's actually really bad in Dominican Republic as well. Really bad. It's a real thing.
I need you to send me all these things when you see them. You probably did share it with me back in the day, and I probably did watch it because I feel like
Yeah.
I remember that video of a overweight white man on the beach with Oh man, I don't even
There's
know
a
why I bring this
project
shit up. It brings me
3
so
years
much
ago,
like
Project Rescue Children, working with Gambia law enforcement, immigration, and tourism board to fight the pandemic of Western pedophiles in the Gambia.
you found it.
This is something else. His video's gone. I mean, like when I tell you they nuked everything that he put together, I probably could find it like maybe on his Patreon or something, but this was something else that I could.
I'm gonna actually try Rumble, see if it's on there.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Let's see here.
It's wild.
It's crazy stuff.
What's his name again?
Surviving Life, but his name changed. His real name on YouTube, his real name was Ron Swanson, and his channel is called Surviving Life. They took him down completely.
Yeah, no, I don't think this is him on Rumble.
He has another channel now. It's called Project ROOQ, which I don't know what that stands for, but I gotta try to find his website. I wonder if his old videos are on here. He had this really good documentary called Hope Dies Here. He talked about all the Isaac Cappy stuff way back when it was first going on. Yeah, he was Surviving Life Productions.
Oh,
Yeah, a lot of predators exposed.
did he have long hair?
Yes, redhead guy.
Found him on Rumble. Darkest Net Revenge Volume 1, and it talks about catching predators.
Yeah.
But his latest video was 2 years ago.
So I'm gonna
Darkest Net Project Bluebeam. He has a bunch of things, but he hasn't updated anything.
Here's his website. It looks like a lot of that stuff is on his website, which is nice. Internet horrors. I remember when he used to do those.
Yeah, this is definitely his page then, because he's talking about internet horrors.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate though. He hasn't posted anything in 2 years.
He goes live sometimes on YouTube on the Project ROOQ. But I don't see the Gambia thing here. He has a Patreon. I'll sign up for his Patreon and I'll see what I can find on there too.
Yeah, I saw that video this morning. I was like, damn. Like,
and
it's crazy that I saw the comments and immediately before I even read the comments, you were like, yeah, it's a lot of.
Yep, because again, the name of the game is money, and stereotypically, who's got enough money to spend on flying private to these islands and these, you know,
Yeah.
yeah, the channel, the channel banned by YouTube for bullying those who abuse children. Surviving Life YouTube, 101,000 subscribers when banned. Yeah, I loved his channel. Me and my bestie, we would sit there and we would watch his videos for hours because he had a lot of really good stuff on there.
When did they take him down?
Oh God, a couple years ago, I think 2021 or 2022, around there. Don't remember.
We need to do a Rumble page.
We can. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
we have to do. But yeah, wow. I'm looking forward to looking into this when we're off air because I wanna learn more about this guy.
Yeah, his channel or his page is really good. Um, like the documentary he had called Hope Dies Here. The first thing that comes up in that documentary was Isaac Cappy's Dead Man Switch. The little girls at the altar cleaning it with the little bikinis on. So
Mhm.
he goes deep into a lot of this stuff. And
I think somebody debunked that video. They said that was from that it was like it was like blue big was it blue? Or maybe one of the bathing suits was blue. Two little girls, right? I feel like I saw a video saying that or seeing that that was like whatever it was, let it be abundantly clear. It's completely inappropriate. But I feel like they try to debunk it saying that it was like a resort where like a family resort type of in another country. They try to debunk it, but it just didn't even look appropriate. And I remember feeling like, yeah, that's
yeah,
it's a long
I
time
mean,
ago.
yeah, I was gonna say a while ago when this first came out, people actually found the place. It's in Turkey. Um,
Right.
yeah, so yeah, it's weird, it's creepy. I mean, when it first got uploaded to the internet, it was always uploaded as Cappy's last upload to his Dead Man Switch. So I don't know.
I think that moving forward, we need to say Isaac Cappy's name and Virginia Guy Freeze, or I wish I knew how to pronounce it. I'm just gonna say
Gouffre?
Virginia G. Gouffre. That makes more sense
Mhm.
actually.
Yeah.
Um, until Pam Bondi releases these damn files.
Yes. 100%.
Say their name. We got Isaac
Uh-huh.
Cappy and Virginia Gouffre. Gouffre, right? That's how you said it.
Yeah.
I think you had a valid point. We were talking earlier about Miss Virginia G.
Where is the outrage? I guess that's the lack of anything really in regards to this from the
The media coverage,
the
the
media,
freaking
I understand the president's a very busy man. He's got enough time to, change the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. And I think that a lot of people in America have had their eyes on what's going on. I feel like a lot of people also voted for him in regards to these files being brought out because that was a really
agreed.
big thing. So why is it that the main survivor, I don't want to say main, I feel like that's rude, but like the most vocal survivor in the whole Epstein situation, she's dead after an attempt on her life the first time with her being hit by a car, and 2 weeks later her allegedly unaliving herself. Why are all these people who have been telling us about these files have not said anything about this?
You know
There's not
what? I'm
even
with you on that.
where is the memoriam for the person who blew the whistle on these files that you guys keep promising us that we have not gotten?
Pam Bondi, again, this is a mandate. This
Yes.
is a mandate that supported your confirmation. Cash Patel, Money Patel. This is a mandate from the people that supported your confirmation.
Yes.
Where are the files? I'm
Yeah.
just gonna say it on every pod until it gets released. And hopefully there's gonna
Yeah.
be a day that in the pod that we're gonna be like, guess what was released today? Because it's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah, it's just for me. Speaking of confirmation, their lack of any type of mention of what happened to Virginia, since our the right side too, I feel like loves a good, exposure of a conspiracy. This would be
Yeah.
a major exposure of a conspiracy. And your lack, their lack of concern, their lack of anything in regards to her passing screams at such a high volume to me. It
Yeah.
really it disturbs me, honestly, because I feel like it confirms a lot of the stuff that I believe that I don't want to believe. And I don't know. That's just very strange to me. Very, very fucking strange to me.
And it's just it's getting ridiculous that we're normalizing people unaliving themselves so easily.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like like I think it's become so normalized that what it happens is like our response to is either A, nobody believes it, or B, damn, they got another one.
Oh yeah.
Like
100%.
we'll talk about Isaac Cappy, we'll talk about Virginia G. Like this is so and the way you brought it up to my attention earlier, you said, where is the like this lack of media attention? Like the president is not talking about it. The attorney general is not talking about it. Cash Patel is not talking about it. I think it boils down to what we discussed last week. There are very, very important names on that list. And if they don't want to go anywhere near that sphere about Epstein. So
Yeah. Yeah.
they're not gonna mention Virginia G. They're not gonna do that.
I think for all the years that we've called it the Clinton kill count, the list of all the people who have, I
Mhm.
think at this point we could just call
The
it the political
alleged
kill count
the alleged,
because
mhm.
yeah, I don't think it's just in contrary to the Clintons anymore. I think it's anybody in the political sphere. I think they all protect each other to an extent
Anybody
about
with power, quite frankly.
yeah, yeah, because I mean at the end of the day anybody in power that we could see with our eyes, that we know who they are. I mean, we have to really sit down and digest who their gods are, who are their idols, who are the people that they are working for, who are the people that they, at the end of the day, I don't think it's just protection of themselves. Something that I've heard before is like it's what's the phrase? It's it's easier to oh god, what's the phrase? It's easier to take care of somebody else than to take care of yourself. And it's like
Mm,
I feel like these people they go so hard with the cover-ups because it's not just them they're covering up. They know that they are fucked if anything slips that has to do with their higher ups. You get
mhm,
what I mean? I feel like
mhm. I get what
I
you're
feel
putting
like that.
down.
Yeah, I just
I'll
don't want
say
them
it
to
on
move
every
them.
pod. I don't care if Donald J. Trump's name is on that list. The list needs to come out. It is what it is. If
Yeah,
Trump's name is on that list, guess what? He's a pedophile. He
yeah,
deserves to go to prison. If Eric
yeah.
Trump's name, I don't care whose name it's on the list. It's just so frustrating because this has been going on for so long. And you're right. A lot of people did vote for Trump based on this stance that he was going to release the Epstein files. But
Mhm.
I genuinely believe it's not going to get released. I think it'll get released in like 30 or 40 years when all parties
Yeah,
involved are
are dead.
deceased. Hmm.
I
Unfortunately,
agree.
that's now. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm glad you told me about this guy because now I'm going to go down that rabbit hole. But I do want to, when we're done, I'm going to go back and find some things about Isaac Cappy just to keep his
Yeah.
memory alive.
Yeah, we
RB
we love
Isaac.
Isaac Cappy. He just, at the end of the day, it wasn't about all of the politics and the political games with him. It was what was right and wrong and for the good of the children. And unfortunately, anybody can pantomime being on the side of good. Anybody. If you hide your sins well enough, anybody can portray themselves as a saint. I don't
I agree.
I don't, I don't trust anybody. I think they're all hiding for things for each other. I think it's like that episode of the Boondocks that we watched a little bit of where,
Yeah.
you know, we're over here fighting one side, that side's fighting us, but in reality, the people who own both sides are best
Got us
friends.
fighting each other. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
true. Those are pretty much the topics I wanted to kind of address, or not address, but talk about. Was there anything else that you wanted to add to the pod?
I know we talked about it amongst ourselves. Did we? I don't remember if it was recorded or not now. Wow. Um, the
The
MS-13.
interview.
Yeah.
Um, we could talk about it. I'm just looking at the timer. We're at 1 hour and 20 minutes,
Yeah.
and we'll save it for next. I'm sure there's going to be more with that case.
Yeah.
So we'll save that for the next pod.
Okay.
I am happy that we were able to get together today because
Me too. Yeah, it
scheduling
was
sometimes
fun.
a little crazy,
Yeah.
and yeah, no, that's for now. That's pretty much it. I need to dig down a couple more rabbit holes that I want to talk about. That for some reason or another always has to do with like dirty politics.
Always. I mean, at the end of the day, I feel like because of what we know and what we've,
What we
you
believe,
know,
yeah.
what we believe, yeah. We're not so easily swayed or influenced one way or the other. You know, like a lot of people are. Some people will die on their side, on
Mm-hmm.
the side that they believe is right. And when you have enough perspective and spiritual perspective to know that something is just wrong, like, you know,
Yeah.
something doesn't feel right. I feel like a lot of people have a really hard time taking a step back and looking at the bigger picture. You know what I mean?
No,
So
I agree
glad
with
we're able to
that.
do that.
So yes, thank you for tuning in. If anybody tuned in, I'm telling you right now, in a few years, we're gonna have more than 11 subscribers, and we're gonna feel so proud of how far we've come.
Yes, and I hope you guys
Yeah.
are thoroughly entertained. Um, Engage with us in the comments on our Instagrams, on TikTok. I know I need to get on TikTok. I'm not very I haven't done much on TikTok, but you have, engage with us, give us any questions, try to debate our perspectives,
Please do.
whatever you think or anything that additionally that you want to bring to the table or anything that you want to learn that you think that we may have some knowledge on, we could
And I
definitely talk
think in
about.
the future too, inviting some guests too to some opposition points of views. I think it would be great too.
I
Even though
think we need to
you
do
and
that
I
for the
both
next pod.
have a lot of opposing views. What'd you say?
We need to do that on the next pod. I feel like I think it's about time that we have a guest on.
I agree. We'll talk about it. We'll make plans and we'll
Yeah,
make it I don't know, we'll make it fun. I think it could be cool.
I think so too. Yeah.
So we will talk again. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Moxie.
Yeah.
Always a
A
pleasure.
pleasure. For
And
sure. Thank you, everybody.
like, subscribe, follow to the Have You Heard podcast.
Bye.